Welcome to the January Hubcap meeting. My apologies, we did not start the recording right away when the meeting began. So far, we have discussed the transition from our current email list for the Hub Captains to a Google group. That is coming. We'll make sure it's seamless as possible for all involved. The recording picks up when the promotions committee is in the midst of a discussion about a rebranding opportunity. Thank you.
Is works out fine for the map, but we have other needs. I think we have other graphic needs, so. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I hesitate even to speak these words because of the craziness that will result, but does the Hub Network have a mission statement or short description of what we're for that we're currently comfortable with? Because that seems like it would be an input to the graphics.
I think, okay, I'm not the one totally qualified to answer this, but I'm just gonna answer from my own point of view. The committee has actually spoken about this and I've kind of quietly thinking, we spent an evening once just doing the quote elevator pitch. What would be, if you're going to tell, people in the briefest way possible what the hubs are about, how would you say it? We do have some draft language about that, but I don't want to get into that tonight. I think it's pretty, I think if we did that in an exercise, we would come up with very similar things, but I don't want to go there tonight, if you don't mind.
I don't mind going there tonight, but I'm not sure how we can do a logo before we know what hubs are for. Before
Um,
before we've settled on a
Well,
thing.
if you remember in the retreat, we tried to take the existing mission statement and modify it into mission A and mission B, and we couldn't quite get the wordsmithing down. So there's clearly a mission statement. I think, Linda, the bigger thing also is you have the opportunity to change our name at the same time. I mean, I get people complaining about, I don't like typing out Seattle Emergency Communication Hubs, but communication turns out to be very helpful because when that's always part of the elevator speech, we're around information sharing and communications. So if you get a chance to do the whole rebranding, if that comes up out of it, which it goes back a little bit to Kurt's point. I mean, we have a mission statement that's fairly wordy, but the content's there.
I think this is Anne. I think we know enough about what we do, even though we don't necessarily have a formal mission statement. I don't I don't anticipate the promotion committee going off topic at all. I think they're on board with exactly what we do. Um, I
Yeah,
don't,
we
it doesn't,
discussed how to convey it to the designer,
there you go. Okay.
Okay,
and
because
it would be a two-way conversation. It's not going to just be asking somebody to just come up with a logo out of the blue, and then we'll end up with something that looks generic. It's they're going to take some time to understand what we're about.
Yeah.
I guess I mean I have a personal idea of what we do, but as I've discovered when talking to anybody else in the hubs, everybody has their own different idea, and it seems like we ought to get that straightened out a little bit more.
well,
Susanna?
Suzanne,
Sorry, Linda.
no, go ahead.
Uh, is it for me?
Suzanne.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should be sure it's simple, and we should be focus group tested when it's done to be sure that the public understands. If they look at it, they understand what it is. It has to be communicate very clearly. So simple and tested.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to just say, if you want to entrust our committee with coming up with 3 draft versions of a mission statement, I will rise to that occasion. And if you want to be part of the committee, Kurt, you're welcome to join. And if anybody else wants to join, no, I'm serious, because we're not going to be able to do that here in the meeting. I mean, I take your point well, because I believe these things go hand in hand, and I think that did a pretty good first pass at it in our committee, but it's not ready for prime time yet. So, you know,
I'd be happy to contribute. I
okay,
know we can't do it in this meeting.
right.
I don't know that we can do the graphic till we have an idea that everybody agrees on.
Okay, all right, I can live with that.
So
Um,
this is Dolores from West Seattle. I'm just wondering once more about I get that you want to pay the student the stipend. That's only just the start. We have materials that banners and other things that are already branded with old images.
Yeah.
So there's replacement or somehow dealing with that. There's the other perspective is how does the larger community of disaster preparedness from a federal, state, what words do they use? Because if we're going to interact with those entities, we need to use a common language that's recognized. So I think there's if we have a focus group there, that should be part of the consideration, especially if we want to apply for grants.
I'm gonna, well, just say something about your first point. We were aware that many hubs have developed their own materials and that we can't afford to just, throw away things that we've already done. That's a given, but at a certain point for the overall network, we have a need for, we have to move on, and there's some things where we cannot live without, for example, a new website. And so this is an opportunity to finally update the network things. I would imagine that hubs over time, may shift out to some other materials that match the new identity, if that's the case. But I imagine, a lot of hubs won't do that for a long time, and probably my own hub won't for a while, because we have, materials already printed. But at a certain point, if we don't at a certain point take the leap for the larger organization and do it, we don't move forward. So we have to do that. I mean, it's just a given. But the other thing is that,
I'm not arguing against
Yeah.
that. I'm saying we're going to need funding for that. In addition to the upfront student stipends, we need to plan for incrementally incorporating and integrating the new concepts, the new images that we all agree on. So I'm just thinking of, being recognized by other external entities. And when you're doing your wording and your missions and all that, just make sure that it's something that would be recognized by the state and the federal and the local entities that we're going to be maybe wanting to collaborate with, especially if we want to get some grant money. So that was my main point.
got it.
Thank you, Dolores. We have Matt and Cindy have their hands up, and then I'll let Linda make one more comment after that, and then we should move on.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a pass at addressing your concerns, Dolores. We did. I mean, we of course discussed a lot of this. We have regular meetings with the committee. I so we're not going to have a mandate to rip out and replace all branded materials. There's not going to be. We know that we're not a company. We're not equipped to do that really. But we do print new materials all the time. We have regular orders of posters and trifold brochures, and so just the hope would be that we're going to set a path forward at some point as a group, like we haven't really done in the past, and decide on this visual identity, and then apply that to all future orders. So when new banners are made and new posters are made and new trifolds, they would just have that branding. And we also expect that certain hubs might come up with their own names, their own identities. We have certain groups, or we have certain hubs and certain groups of hubs that choose to use their own sort of naming and branding, and that's kind of okay. But just for the network, we want to have something that people can pull from, that's high quality and recognizable. And as far as being recognized by government, I don't think that that's really going to be something we need to be concerned about. they're going to just be more concerned with the name and the people, and not so much our logo.
I guess my point is, if there's grant dollars out there and we align ourselves with the overall initiative for disaster preparedness in a community and beyond, we could be able to get some money to help fund the process. I personally don't know of any place where money is going to be donated on a hub basis. I just think this has always been an issue, and I don't think it's solved yet.
So Dolores, I'll talk to you, because truly the government looks at what we have as our mission statement. That's all they care about. They don't care about if we're using a radio icon or a unicorn as an icon. They're not known to us by a branded entity. So it really is around the relationships we've built up with them. And just because we change the icon and the colors, they could care less as long as we're not changing what we do. But I'll talk with you afterwards. I've been mentally going through, and the reason I raised my hand is I think the only thing that the network distributes to all the hubs that might come into question is the A-frame with the 2 signs that we have given to everybody to put up in the case of a disaster, that here is your hub location. So I'll talk with Linda and make sure if there's anything else that in the future that we would need to budget for, that is you must change it. We can't phase it out like Matt was saying. I'll make sure they're aware of that. But good point. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
I just wanted to put this up before we move on. This is the current balance in the hub network. We have $3,400, just FYI. And this is Ann talking, sorry. A lot of the next thing we're going to talk about is the yearly field exercise, and we're looking at writing a grant for that.
Thanks, Ann. And you are next to talk about the yearly field exercises.
All right. Okay, sharing.
So can we just back up for
Oh,
1 second?
sorry. Yes,
So
yes.
I feel like we're kind of in a little bit of a limbo here, and we've left it. So I guess what I'm hearing is we're not going forward yet with doing a graphic identity program until we have a mission statement. Is that a correct
We have a
assumption?
mission statement. Kurt may not like the way, I don't know if he's looked at it to say, I really disagree. I vividly remember this discussion in the hub retreat where we put it out on the table and we said, those of you who are saying that it's too long or whatever, rewrite it. And we came out with not one piece of writing on that piece of paper. So we just said the mission statement will stand as it is. We all recognize there's a priority focus on operations of the hub and outreach to neighbors for preparedness. So mission A, mission B. But the mission statement is written is what we had voted on 175 years ago. and we have not found a formal way to change it yet. So we have guide rails that we're working within that when I take that to FEMA or the state or whoever is looking at us, they all go, oh yeah, we get what you do. Kurt?
I didn't mean in any way to disrespect the existing mission statement. I don't know what it is, and I think I missed the last retreat.
I did
I'm
post a
just
link in chat.
concerned. I'm concerned that we need to make sure that we really like that mission statement before we blow $1,000 on a branding campaign.
So we're going to review the designs. It's not going to be just made in a vacuum with no consideration for the organization.
Right.
We will be working with them
Right.
to make sure they understand what we do.
Hey, I got a vote from Bill with a unicorn with a radio antenna emanating from it as the logo.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I'm still waiting to know, do I have a green light for this or do I not have a green light for this? Or is that still to be determined?
Do we do Robert's Rules of Order and make a motion?
We do not run by Robert's Rules of Order. I think the best thing we could do is probably put your
Show
thumb
of
up and your
hands.
You could
thumb
do a
down.
quick
Yeah.
poll. Can you do a
Yeah.
poll? Just a yes or no poll?
I'm not talented enough to do that on the spur of the moment.
On the fly,
what
no.
maybe just state, Linda, is it simply that we want to, do we, or do we not want to support an allotment of up to $1,000 for the stipend for student and design development, and keep the momentum that you have with that professor, which is wonderful.
Catherine, did you want to talk?
Just briefly, I know you flashed up the amount of money in the account. So I just want to say concretely, we do fundraise for big stuff in general, and to have a website, we do have to pay for that, and we may need to do some fundraising. But concretely, this is: do we think 1/3 of what is in our account this year, given our priorities, which includes this, that we fundraised for in 2020, should go to this? So I just wanted to just level set. I think it is, but that's my opinion. But I just wanted to level set. We will be addressing fundraising though this year as well. So just let you know. I'm like looking at my checkbook, and this is what I would wonder. Is this a priority? Did I intend to prioritize this year? Yes. It's 1/3 of what we have in our bank account. What else are we doing? That's probably
Thanks, Catherine.
all right.
Kurt, can you keep it short?
Yeah, I just like to echo what Catherine said. Is spending $1,000 on a branding project the most important thing we're doing with that money? I don't think we've talked about what to do with that money, so I'm not sure that we know.
Well, I will say I have been on this promotions committee. We've talked for a long time about updating our website. It feels like maybe we're starting to make some headway in that direction, at least in terms of what our thoughts are. And part of the communication with people, I think, with our communities will really be helped by getting something that's maybe visual, that's a little clearer. And if that, as part of that process, we walk through and start rethinking our mission as well, not rethinking, maybe reorganizing, rewording our mission, if we're to do something like that, as Kurt suggested, that could be valuable. But I think we all have a pretty good idea of what it is we are as an organization. Most of the people here, I know you've been involved for a long time. I've been involved for a while. We have a pretty good sense of where we're going. It's conveying that to our communities that's been a challenge. And Linda's done a lot of work coming up with this. That's not the reason we should accept what she proposed today, but we've seen Matt and I, and I'm not sure who else is on here. We've seen some of the thinking behind the scenes, and for me, I think it's a good thing we could step forward with.
Linda, did you want $800 or 1,000?
I want 800. That's I don't know where people came up with 1,000, and 800 is a quarter of the money. I just want to say it's a quarter, not a third.
Quarter.
But
Yeah.
But I realize, okay, that we're an organization that doesn't have a big budget, but I want to just say that there is an opportunity cost when you let somebody go. This is a very rare opportunity to get a first-rate person to do this who has a great track record, and I know them personally. I know what they do, and if we don't take her up on that, when we do want to do it, which was probably we said this year, then we're going to be starting from scratch again, trying to find someone to do it for very little money or no money. And I just want to tell you that I personally, I mean, I can go either way, and believe me, it'll be less work for me if we don't do this. I don't care in that way. But I think for the organization, I think it's really, it would be a shame for you to lose that. I mean, really.
Deborah, how would you
I think that
suggest
it's
we
a good
collect
deal.
the votes and go forward? We need to keep moving here.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we can just do a show of hands.
Hang on, we got one more comment. Nancy, you want to quickly go?
Yes, I think it is a great opportunity and it is a fabulous price point. I'm just wondering though, I'm willing to vote, but can you just give us like, I don't know, 30 days, 3 weeks, whatever, just to send in the comments and then I'm willing to move forward. That's all.
Wait, I don't understand what you're asking. Send comments and then is she going to decide without us being able to tell her yes or no?
Oh, no, I just wanted a window for the rest of the hub folks to have the opportunity to just send comments to Linda and then they can shuffle it around and then decide what they're going to forward to the graphic designer.
You mean
To provide
give her a
feedback.
go and give her additional comments to contemplate? Is that what you mean?
Yes, as she was asking, just, whether it's 2 weeks or whatever it is.
I mean, for the criteria in comments about the direction of the design and stuff, I'd really like to get comments like, yeah, within about 2 weeks, like maybe February 7th, I was thinking.
Okay, that's totally reasonable for me.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I think I missed, are we in a position where we were going to do a hands, or have we come to some general agreement? Cindy, I'll take your guidance on this one.
I would say, let's just ask people to raise their hands. And if you are unsure or not ready to vote, or you think no, just don't raise your hand. But at least let's see how many people are in concurrence with letting it move forward.
All right. Hands up if you're in favor. All right. I think that's at least 2/3 of the people that are on the call tonight. All right. Good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sorry
Good
to so long.
discussion.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You can add if you're an account, I couldn't figure it out how to put the hand thing, so.
That's okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Oh, you cut out, Gabrielle. So we're going with the yearly field exercise. You guys hopefully have the dates, hopefully have them on your calendar. June 7th, which is a Saturday, June 22nd, which is a Sunday. Time, location has not been determined. Stick with me. We didn't choose those. Cindy did a really good job of scouring the future, and we didn't choose those dates willy-nilly. We looked at everything that was going on and tried to avoid the big events. Objectives of this drill. These are really soft. Demonstration of a robust hub. We're going to put a lot of our efforts, and in case you didn't know, we're going to do one big drill in the north end, one big drill in the south end, different weekends, obviously, and we're going to ask all of our hub volunteers and all of the public to hit one of these two spots. So a robust hub and its capabilities, we want to see that in action. Cindy and I have talked about pushing the envelope on several of the hub roles. Again, a very soft objective. It's not hard yet. We want to increase hub captains' comfort in hosting their own drill. So going through the preparation stages to host this big drill, if you're involved and watching, will really highlight and encourage you to do your own drill. That's what we have found in drills in the past. Anybody that went through it and went through kind of the prep sessions felt much more comfortable hosting their own drill on their own. We have also had this tossed our way, maybe the idea of practicing special situations like shift change. What would that look like? We've never really practiced it. Shutting down for the night, not necessarily shutting down for the night, but talking through what that might look like for a hub. So those were some of the objectives. Cindy and I have divvied up responsibility. This is kind of how it looks. I have responsibility for overall coordination of the hub. I will ask for a drill team. I can't do this by myself, and you'll see why. Some of the things that I'll make sure gets done is the logistics. We have to pick a time, a location, and get permits from the property manager. We have to establish things like goals, objectives, and how we measure success. We have to make sure our scenarios are in line with what we're trying to test, and our scenarios. I said scenarios, I meant script. We have to fill the hub roles, and we have to manage the scripts and make sure that everything's lined up. There is a section of this after it's all done. You have to do an after action report, debrief out to the hubcap group. So that's the stuff I'm comfortable doing. Cindy is really good with communicating with the outside world, meaning city officials, King County officials, the mayor, the district council members, all those folks, and then the citywide organizations, not your local Facebook group, not your local PTA, nothing like that, but the citywide community organizations. Cindy's really good, really facile in getting that information out and staying on top of folks. What we need from you is I will ask you to push this drill out to your neighborhood groups, your mailing list, your PTA, your church, whatever. I'm going to push the hub captains to develop an outreach list. When you have an event, when you're trying to push your issue of be prepared, I would like to see all of our hubs have a really solid list of email addresses of people that will hopefully amplify our message. So that's what I'm going to ask of the hub captains in general. Okay. I just discussed this not too long ago with Cindy and a little bit with Linda. We have the opportunity to write a grant. I am willing to write a grant. The kind of grant we're talking about goes up to $50,000. This is from the City of Seattle Department of Neighborhoods. If we get funded, this is what I propose. For planning and pulling off the drill, our efforts, your efforts, my efforts, Cindy's efforts will help pay for a new website and possibly other expenses. And I don't know what that is. I don't want to discuss it now, but I don't think a new website is going to cost $50,000. Okay. So what can we wrap into this grant to really hopefully launch us in the direction I think we all want to go, to help us move forward? So I will write a grant to take advantage of the effort of doing this drill to therefore get us this new website. So back to what I need, not from all of the hub captains, but whomever wants to step forward and help with this. I need somebody to create outreach materials. I don't suck at it, but I don't enjoy creating posters. I don't enjoy creating flyers. It is not my strength. I need someone to do that. It's a one-time deal. I will give you all the information you need. Create a flyer, create a poster. I need someone to help. This is a couple people, actually. I would like 3 or 4 people on the call and help me create the scenario. Are we doing an earthquake? Are we doing a cyber attack? Is there something else we want to do? The FIFA World Cup is coming up. Do we want to design a scenario, a disaster around that event? So what do we want our scenario to look like, and what do we want to get out of the exercise? That's another separate team of people. I need someone to review scripts with me. Yeah, we need to make sure that the scripts we have to give to our citizen actors are going to help us test the sides of this drill that we want. And it's making sure the matches are there. That's a lot of it. I need someone to help coordinate getting the gear, because these drills, these two locations aren't necessarily a current hub location. For the north end, I'm thinking about North Seattle College. It's got a lot of space, a lot of empty parking lots. Parking's not an issue, really close to the light rail. So it's a really convenient place to gather, but there's no hub sitting there. There's no box to open up and canopies to pull out. So we're going to have to pull it from other hubs. Not a big deal, but it's something I can offload to someone else so it doesn't all rely on me. Recruiting actors. This is reaching out to groups that might be interested. This is college kids. This is, are there acting groups in the area? The bike groups, whatever kind of groups we can think of that might be interested in coming and participating, on top of hub captains reaching out to the groups in their individual neighborhoods. I need somebody to coordinate photos and videos. It's something we always leave to the last minute, and maybe we shouldn't. And Jim, I'm kind of looking at you
Yeah,
with your
no,
little
me too.
with your little fancy drone. So that's a job that I need somebody to take on. I need somebody to organize snacks, you know, coffee, donuts, cookies, I don't care, but somebody to do that kind of stuff. And then any other little pet project you have, talk to me about it. So that's all I have right now. I'm going to send out a sign up with these jobs outlined, and I need to see who's going to put their name next to. I'll create the banner or whatever. Yeah. Go ahead, Cindy.
Gina may be our point person for anything that is related to the bicycles. There is a bicycle group who wants to do disaster bike relief. I cannot remember if you were on that meeting or not the other night.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Gina would be our point person for that. If
If she's willing, sure.
Well, that's why she's on that team. But if they choose to be into our thing. And the other clarifying thing is, the money that you are going to use in the grant can also be used to pay for snacks, or if we have a sign
Yes.
language interpreter or whatever
Yep.
included at the drill.
Paying for posters, paying for advertising. You know, we can buy a billboard. This is I know. We can put a sign on a bus. I just need somebody to help. I can't do all this myself. Nancy, go ahead. You're muted, Nancy.
Thank you. So the skills group here, this drill team, would they need to be available for both of those states or just in the planning?
Just in the planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at this point, you know, if we're going to talk about teams that need to be like the bike team or something, so we don't have any idea whether the North will be on the Saturday and the South on the Sunday. No,
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Good.
Thanks.
Thanks for clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of great ideas. I love all that. I don't want to discuss that now. I want somebody to raise their hand and say, I will help with that. And then, you know, go ahead, Cindy.
If for the South location, I am just drawing a blank that has a good location. So anybody in the South who knows of a big area with lots of foot traffic, where we can get a lot of community interest, but it's easy to get in and park and all that stuff, send us ideas.
I do have an idea, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, Cindy, but the Rainier Vista Boys and Girls Club is open on a Saturday and a Sunday, but they don't open until 2:30. So could we run the drill before they open? Just a thought. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it just occurred to me.
I don't even know where it is.
The location is fabulous. I'm looking for near a light rail station, and I'm looking for parking.
But other ideas, we'll take other ideas, just so we have a stash of them.
Jefferson Park we've used in the past. Is that not?
Yeah. Go ahead, Cindy.
It had drawbacks in that we thought we'd get a lot of foot traffic, and there was, but they were all rushing past us to get to the soccer games. So we had very low, hey, what are you doing? I can hang around and talk. It was a very busy park, but no, you know, we were like ignored. It was pretty interesting. Great access though.
Yeah. It's a good idea, Matt, but we've tried it and it wasn't as successful as we were hoping.
Grocery store parking lots. If you could find a grocery store that would let you use some of their parking lot, that gets you
possibly.
As Lake City Hub, of course, is in a grocery store, and that gets his attention.
Maybe Costco.
I think we'd get killed in a Costco parking lot. I mean, keep the ideas coming. I mean, you know, there may be something in there.
So, you know, there is the talking about grocery store parking lots made me think of the I can't remember exactly where it is. It's the grocery store. It's kitty corner to the new K8. It's in Rainier Beach. there was a shooting there like a year ago at a community
I know where you're
event.
talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
So I mean, in terms of how do we reach out? We're a very white group. How do we reach out to more folks? Be in a place, you know, folks came out to that event. Would folks come out again to a different event there? I don't know. I mean, it's a huge question. It's an enormous parking lot. And
Okay.
it's kitty corner
Tucked
across
around.
from
That's very close to the Rainier Beach
yeah.
hub. So
Yeah.
I'll
Boys
talk
and
to them.
girls. Okay. All right. I'm going to shut down the conversation. Lots of great ideas, and I love that. But we've got a full agenda that we've got to crack on with. So, you know, hopefully by the next meeting we have, I will have submitted a grant, and I'll write it as vague as I can so that we've got lots of wiggle room.
See, thank you, Anne. The next one, Cindy newsletter, Feb 2025.
So I sent out the activity report from 2024 and said, please, you know, get me, if you had, you know, more than 3, you know, if you have a good thing you want to write up, send it to me so I can get in the 2024 newsletter. It's not critical that everybody get in that, but if you had something you wanted to, you know, pull out and show off, that's a perfect venue. I'll be extracting stuff from that to put in, which is my real topic, the 2025 newsletter, the one that'll come out and it'll have our calendar of events. We've got some, you know, radio classes. We've got hold the dates for the exercise, sort of almost. But I am not going to, like I said last meeting, I'm not going to do content composition for these newsletters anymore. That's one of the things I want to stop doing. And so the plan going forward is, besides just calendar announcements and any article that somebody would like to write and submit, which is fantastic, I'm just going to carve off and use a couple of hubs at a time with their 2025 plans, because that is the best way of the 1,700 people that we send that newsletter to, so that people who live in your neighborhoods know what you're thinking of doing. So I've got a couple of write-ups from Madison Valley and Ellen and Roosevelt. So I've got enough to start launching, but that's what the newsletters will be. So as you start talking with your community and you think about, well, we're going to do this we're going to do the big drill, but we want to do training, and we want to do a skills fair, we want to do our own little dry exercise, put those in snippets and send to me so that we can make sure people are aware of the great work that you guys do. Because when you look at that compilation of what we got done last year, that's everybody just doing 1 or 2 things. It's fantastic how fast it adds up. So I will ping people, but if nobody sends me anything, the newsletter will just go out with calendar stuff on it. Nancy, you're on mute again. You're very good at staying on mute. That's good.
Do you have a deadline for that newsletter?
I would like to if you want to submit something for this first newsletter, February 1st.
Okay.
I wanted to go out that first week of February.
Thank you.
Cindy, you're on for the next item also.
And I see a hand went up. Somebody waved their hand, so.
I did.
Robert.
Robert. Just can I ask a quick question about that? I don't know if this is appropriate, but I've told you we have a neighbor who has created an online survey where we can send neighbors to offer their skills in case of emergency, plus they input all of their information about where they live, and that neighbor and I have the only admin privileges, but it serves as sort of a neighborhood listserv for the emergency hub.
Write that up and send it to me. I mean,
and because he has said that is eminently duplicable for other hubs if people are interested.
you know, that would not be duplicable for my neighborhood, which is like 5,000 to 7,000 people.
Right.
But, you know, but the smaller insular, you know, like bounded by geographic features like you are. So that would be a good thing to send out to the hub captains telling them about the tool. For the newsletter, it's better to say we're taking these extraordinary steps to understand the resources in our area and be a little more vague about it.
Right. Okay.
Is there another hand I can't see?
I didn't see another one. Thanks, Cindy.
So I'm going to blow through this. We did a thing, North Capitol Hill created a program called Huddle to try and attract radio operators to their hub operations. And they graciously invited the Auxiliary Communication Service, the ACS team, to come and present because radio can be worked at multiple levels. They did a debrief after that and said it was a lot of effort and it didn't seem efficient to do it just on Capitol Hill when, you know, should be really done system-wide. So I took that action, and along with the ACS member, there is now a program called Ham Connect. And this is what I'm going to show you guys so that you know, you see a ham radio potential person, it's all around helping new hams find a launching pad. These are the 5 groups that are participating: Auxiliary Communication Service, the hubs, the West Seattle Amateur Radio Club, PSRG, Puget Sound Repeater Group, the Western Medical Services Team, and a group called Cascade Radio, which is an online presence for ham radio. We have sent a letter to 418 new ham radio operators, congratulating them on getting their license, and then telling them that there will be 5 sessions throughout the year where they can attend to learn about all these different organizations and what they do in the world of ham radio and how they can get engaged. We've put together a simple website that has that same type of information, and we've got business cards. I should have brought one upstairs. Business cards to, you know, hang up on bulletin boards or hand out at training sessions or events where, you know, a potential ham radio operator might be. So if anybody has interest in getting some of those business cards, you'll see one here in a second. These are the sessions. There's one in, and these will all go on our hub calendar here pretty quick. March, April, June, July, and October. And it's a cross between in-person, some are hybrid, some are online only. The one we are going to host as hubs is just going to be online only because I'm really adept at that. But if you're, you know, so you can see the different venues that we picked to do that. This is the letter that went out, and over on the right-hand side is what the little business card looks like. You know, just says, do you have a amateur radio license, and would you like to connect? And here are all the groups that it's involved in. So, so to evaluate it, because this was part of the feedback out of North Capitol Hill, you know, they had, I think, 6 or 8 people show up at their meeting. So we're going to do, you know, how many letters we sent out, how many bounced, because that was always a problem. You know, people move within the 2 years of getting their license. We want to get feedback from the participants. Was it worth attending? Did they learn something, and did they plug in? And that is a measurement that's going to be by, do we get increases in our groups? Hubs is probably not likely going to be able to measure that. We don't actually measure attendance, but all the other groups have some kind of a membership count. And so we'll be looking at seeing if ACS got 15 new members last year. That is the whole point, you know, to engage ham radio operators into something that serves community. So that's what that was about. Any questions? I ran through that one.
That was brilliant, Cindy. What a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Next item, any questions? No, Matt, it looked like you're clapping. Okay, great, thanks. February deep dive, teachable moment, Anne.
So just giving folks a heads up of what we're going to be talking about in February. 4th Thursday of the month is a deep dive. So we're calling it the teachable moment, which some of you may have heard about. It was an idea that I tried working a couple years ago, got together with some hub captains to try and figure out if we had a small earthquake, I always use 4.2. If we had a 4.2 earthquake, shook everybody in the city up, but there's not massive damage, how can we take advantage of that momentum, that need, that intensity to get folks to prepare, to educate them about the hubs, and also to help them prepare? Cindy helped me revamp my thinking. So this is what we're going to talk about next month. A teachable moment doesn't have to be a medium-sized earthquake. We are unfortunate enough that natural disasters are occurring everywhere. We've recently discussed hurricanes Helene and Milton, the Southern California fires, all of those things happening in the US and around the world are could be considered teachable moments. Let's take what's happening around us and push our communities to be more prepared instead of waiting for this earthquake. So what we're going to talk about next month is a plan, is encouragement for every hub to figure out what they might do. And that could be as simple as, I'm gonna stop sharing. That could be as simple as we have an email list, and by golly, when something happens, we're going to steal information from the hub webpage. We're going to create our own information. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but when an event happens in another community, if we, the hub captains, have energy to write, to put something down on paper about what to do about it, then how do we get that shared out? And how does each individual hub captain do something with that information? Maybe you push it out to your members. Maybe you print up a flyer and put it in your bulletin board. I don't know. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. A teachable moment and a little bit of a twist on it, and not sitting around waiting for the 4.2 earthquake.
The perfect earthquake to come.
Yeah, yeah. So any questions on this? Okay, next one.
So I think I'm next. Anne has given me 2 entrees into this next topic. When she talks about teachable moment and reaching out to people, it's sometimes as easy for me to send it to the local West Seattle blog and go, hey, this reminds me to tell you that, we have this school group ready to help the school. And, it gives them something to help promote forward thinking so people prepare. Or, you can put a survey on Nextdoor that says, whatever you want it to say, how many weeks do you have stored? The point of it is my topic is the community building class. The other thing she asked you to do was, during the exercise, communicate to your community groups. And the whole point of this class is to help you know who is in your community group that you can do outreach to. So the session we just had in, I've lost it already, January. It's like, I've lived a year in this first month. The session in January, we had 16 people signed up. We had 6 that were no-shows or late cancels, but it was still a really good class. I thank everybody who's online today that participated. Reasonable, it met people's expectations or somewhat met them, and we incorporated feedback that we got about what to improve it. The one thing that really came out of it was, it's not a formal class. The material's presented, and there's time for talking. And what was really nice was that people came with different perspectives, and they shared who they outreach to and ideas of how to do it. And people were able to pose questions and say, what do you do about? And so not only the Department of Neighborhood instructors could help with a reply, but also that the participants could, give in their impressions. So we did not have it fully filled with hub captains. I'm establishing cutoff dates that say, if we haven't filled the seats with hub captains, we're going to open it to community, because Department of Neighborhoods knows several partners in the groups who want this kind of training too. And so we're saying, if we got extra seats, we'll let your folks have them. So I have actually nobody signed up for the next one, which is in March, and nobody has signed up for the one in April. So please, the one in March is intended for the South, all the hubs in the Southeast and Southwest sectors, to be convenient for you. It's up on Beacon Hill. So if that's convenient for you and the date works, please sign up. Otherwise, I'll start giving those seats away in a week or two, a couple of weeks. And the same for April's. It's up north at North Seattle Community College. So pick one. If the one in your neighborhood doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You'll see the community groups that are talked about, which is what goes back to the point of, who do you talk to do your outreach? Department of Neighborhoods comes in with, excuse me, copies of your neighborhood's demographics. So it's really a useful class. And so I encourage you go ahead and get those seats filled up before we give them away. And any questions on that? Otherwise, I'm going to go into my next topic. The backpacks, you know, we have each hub gets 4 red backpacks with a 7-pound cube of MRE stuff. You know, I've looked at it. I'm not sure I would eat it until a disaster. And then some water, but that is intended for you to have for your volunteers for when they're working, they have some food and water, because that might be the last thing you think of when you report to the hub is how hungry am I going to be in hour 4. So I really want to get rid of these. I'm bringing them. If you tell me there's a question, if you come to those classes that says I want my backpacks brought to me there. But if you say bring your backpacks, please show up, because it's a lot of weight for me to haul into a classroom and then not have people there. So I'll deliver them that way, or if you're anywhere near me, call me. We got to figure this out, because I need my storage room back. And then the last thing is, don't forget to sign up for the psych first aid class. We have 20 out of 45 classes. That one also, I have a cutoff date, which is the February meeting of the Auxiliary Communication Service. I have promised them 10 seats at the most, but I told them it may only be 5, depending on how many seats you guys take up. So second Saturday of February, I'll start giving seats away to ACS. Ellen, I'm going to ask you I see a comment. I'm going to ask you, you'll mark that on the sign up thing, and then I'll know to bring it. So questions about those 2 topics?
Cindy, the psychological first aid, is that only for people that are currently in the hub network? Or is it for some broader audience I'm forgetting about?
No, it's hub volunteers. It is specifically tailored for hub volunteers because it's a field situation, and ACS is sort of just like us. So that's the 2 parties. And the only other exception is it was my bartering chip. We got North Seattle College because I promised them 3 seats to their security team.
Okay, great.
Cindy, I missed the initiation of the red backpack. First I've heard, but
I'll talk to me afterwards.
Yes.
We got to keep moving. We ran way over tonight. Send me an email, Dolores.
Okay.
So next, show and tell when you don't attend to your hub box.
Oh God, yes.
I can talk about that.
Oh, well, you
Not right
can,
now.
but I actually have
In
a
the
show and
past.
tell.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, this is, we remind everybody once in a while to go in and take care of your box, oil it up and stuff. We had a box where there was a changeover of hub captains. Somebody wasn't doing what I thought they said they were doing. We actually, thank you to John. Rita's John is on the call from Salvation Army down in South Highland Park. He drilled it out for me because we could not get this thing open, and you know how they're recessed in a box. And if you can see how, I don't even want to touch this thing anymore. See how grody and crusted it is? We'd have never been able to get that open. So he saved me a $250 bill. But if you don't take them out, oil them, take care of them, they'll seize up on you, as we now have proof. Oh gosh, it dribbled all over.
Observations from the LA fire. Do we just want to hear a couple of those before we move into our around the room? I do know someone whose house burned down. I assume most of us know someone or know of someone.
Yeah, Catherine's sister was on evac, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably end up doing a deeper dive on that, because we're hearing some stuff about cell communications, so we might do that as kind of a chunk of a deep dive one day. Hugh.
Yeah, so I have a good friend who lives in Santa Clarita. So the last 2 nights they've been on tender hooks, and I was totally surprised how unprepared they are to go. And I'm sitting up here, 800 miles away, giving them, okay, get this, get this, get this. Do you have 2 cars? Drive them both out of there, park one in a concrete garage where it won't get wrecked by the fire. And that way, if the worst comes to worst, you at least have the 2, this kind of stuff. So call all your friends that are away, not just your out of town contacts. Say, by the way, I'm doing this because I'm into disaster preparedness, and where you live, you have windstorms or this or that. Do you have all this stuff? You're going to be surprised that no, we never thought of that. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Hugh. Yeah, and Ann said use dry lubricant. Yes, we've suggested that a couple times, and it's still able to do that for the winter. Okay. All right. Let's do a quick around the room. If people have items they would like to share, we'll start in the Northwest. Anybody from Northwest have an update they want to share? No. All right. Northeast.
Yes, I have, just want to share that, and it's on the website, is Wedgwood is having an amateur radio basics class, February 12th, 6:30 to 8 at the Wedgwood Presbyterian Church. And there is an RSVP, please.
Is it on your Wedgwood website when you said that, or is it on the Hub website?
It should be on both, right, Ann?
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
So I have another one. It's actually ACS, but the Northeast Auxiliary Communication Service is having a ham radio class March 1st and 15th at Meadowbrook for the technician class license as well. So there's going to be some opportunities to get people trained. That's
Okay.
Susanna from Northeast.
Yeah, Suzanne, is that on the websites, the dates?
I know because it's actually the Auxiliary Communication Service doing it. So I'm just throwing it in since you brought the one up that you're doing. So we can get it put on if you want to. It's not a Hub sponsored piece, although it's very Hub friendly.
I think
Can you drop that information in the chat, Susanna? Then that way those people who want it can do it.
Yes.
And I'll think about on the website. And I need to get you some of those business cards too then.
Yeah. Yeah. Christian is the organizer, Christian Helfrich.
Okay, great. Anyone else in Northeast? Oh, okay. We'll move on to Central West.
Nothing new from Queen Anne. Frank, you have anything?
Frank, you're on mute.
Frank, you're on mute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. Hate to delay the process. Yeah, Cindy and I met with the Magnolia Community Council, and there seems to be some interest there in moving ahead to rebuild the West Magnolia Hub.
Right. Central Core.
Ellen Santorelli here in Montlake. Cindy has been pushing hard on the library to get them to respond, and we've finally got a response from somebody, and we will be meeting with them on this coming Tuesday at 2 o'clock to see if they're willing to let us put a box at the Montlake Library.
Great. Anyone else in the central area?
I'm gonna poke at Jim Simpkins. I'm not sure this is this first or a second in meeting, but they're a new hub in Roanoke Park. And so I've been meeting with them. Their team has just started meeting.
Great. Southwest.
I'm going through, I'm clicking through everybody. No, like no new updates. I know Johnny's on. I want to go back to one thing in Central District 7. We were supposed to have a meeting with the District 7 hubs with Councilmember Bob Kettle. He had to push it out, but we still get to meet with his staffer on public safety tomorrow. So a nice little political meeting coming up.
All right. Did you think of anything in Southwest, Cindy? No? Okay. All right, Southeast?
We're planning an exercise on March 29th, exercise with everybody using their radios, partly just to get used to the communications protocols, and also as kind of a shakedown to make sure everybody's radios are programmed correctly and so on.
Great.
Great. All right. Any last comments, Ann or Cindy, before we wrap up?
Okay, I'm gonna hold. I'm looking at all the little scribbly notes.
Okay. And as always, we'll copy some things out of the chat and put them in this, and it will go out, and the link to the video will go out.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. What a fantastic meeting.
I'm good.
Action
That was
packed.
packed. Yeah.
All right. Great. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night. It's good to see you all.